But here's the screencast for Chapter 6, Tap 4. And I'm going to take a few pages. I didn't leave myself or you enough space to do this Part A in that little space. So anyway, what ratio of capital to labor minimized Jake and Paul's total costs? If you get that part, this isn't such a hard tap. But if you don't, it's impossible. The insight comes from the graph. You're not asked to graph, but anyway, there's this optimal situation where the isoquant and the isocost lines are tangent. So that's where they are. And at this at that spot, we'll call it A. There's not a price. The following holds true: W over R is equal to the marginal rate of technical substitution, which we know is the marginal product of labor over the marginal product of capital. And now you have enough to solve this problem. Remember that the cost function, I'll just read it out. You have the problem in front of you. Cost function is C equals 10K plus 2L. Well, that means the rental cost of capital is 10, and the rental cost of labor, the wage rate, is 2. 1 unit of labor increases cost by 2, so that's the wage rate. 1 unit of capital increases cost by 10, so that's the rental rate of capital. So W over R is easy, right? I'm just going to take whatever space I can find to work in. W over R is equal to 2 over 10, or 1 over 5. Now, the marginal rate of technical substitution is a little bit trickier. We are given that the marginal product of labor is K to the 0.75 over L to the 0.75. And we're going to divide all that by the marginal product of capital, which is 3L to the 0.25 divided by K to the 0.25. And I'm going to, remember when we're dividing fractions, I can just multiply the fraction in the numerator by the reciprocal of the one in the denominator. I'm just going to go ahead and do that step, take that step. So I'm multiplying this fraction by 1 over 3L to the 0.25 divided by K to the 0.25, which is, the reciprocal of that is K to the 0.25 over 3L to the 0.25. Well, you see what I've done, and this makes this a relatively easy problem, is K to the 0.75 times K to the 0.25. Remember the rule of multiplying exponents, we just add the exponents, so that's just K, and that's K over 3L. So that part A just drops right out of our optimization condition. 1/5 equals K over 3L, and we're asked what's the ratio of capital to labor that minimizes cost. Well, we can just multiply both sides of this equality by 3, and we get K over L equals 3 over 5. So that's part A. Let me create a new page for part B. So remember we left off saying K over L is 3 over 5, otherwise known as 0.6. How much capital and labor will Jake and Paul need to rent and hire in order to produce 1,000 reams of paper each week? Well, we remember we have an isoquant, and now we know the ratio in which capital and labor must be employed. So that isoquant is, they're going to produce 1,000, so 1,000 equals 4K to the 0.75 times L to the 0.25. And now we can just substitute for K or L, it doesn't really matter. I think in class I substituted for L. Let's substitute for K. So we can use this expression to get that K is always equal to 0.6 L. And then I can just substitute that out. So 1,000 is equal to 4 times 0.6 to the 0.75 power times L to the 0.75 power times L to the 0.25 power. So of course that L to the 0.75 times L to the 0.25 is going to just, the product of that is going to be L. So let me just simplify, then I'm going to have to pause while I go run get a calculator, since I can't use my calculations from Friday because I substituted differently. But I should still get the same answer. If I didn't, it means I made a silly algebra error, which happens to all of us. All right, so L equals 1,000 divided by 4 times 0.6 to the 0.75 power. All right, I did this Prescott's way without doing any rounding, and so when you do that, you get L is equal to 366. You get 0.7132236633914, but I am going to round now, 366.17. And when you multiply that by 0.6, you get the fact that K is equal to 220.03. And just to compare, I've got my answers from class here. Where did I write them down? Oh, here they are. I got the other day L equals 367.44, which was off by a little over 1 just because of rounding. Interestingly, my calculation for capital was hardly off at all. So there was a big rounding error that I introduced when I rounded capital, for some reason. Anyway, how much will each hiring these inputs cost them? I don't even need a new page here. C is just 10K plus 2L. So 10K, I can even do that in my head. It's 2,200.3. Oh, well, it's 3 something. I should have. Anyway, I rounded to get my capital, and there it is. Plus 2 times L. That's going to be a little harder to do in my head, but shouldn't be that hard. Let's see, that's 700, and then twice 16, 732.34. And if I add those two together, I get 2,932.64. So there we are. And I should have circled those for part B, and voila.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.